To the Neudesic webcast series. Let's review 3 items in Microsoft Live Meeting that will be helpful to know about as we move forward. They are the feedback feature, Q&A, and lost audio. The feedback feature is located in the upper right corner. As this is a streaming webcast, this is the best way to communicate with the presenter and moderator. As you can see, if you run into issues, please select the appropriate item from the drop-down, and the moderator will reach out to assist you as soon as possible. Next, we'll look at the Q&A feature. We definitely encourage questions throughout the presentation. You would simply click into Q&A, located in the upper left toolbar, type your question, and click the Ask button. The questions go to the presenter and moderator, and please note all questions are held until the end of the webcast. The last item we wanted to talk about was voice and video, also located in the upper left toolbar. Sometimes in a streaming webcast environment, the audio will drop. In order to correct this situation, click voice and video. You will see this red error message. You would click the X to get out of the error message, and then click join audio. As you are reconnected back to the webcast, you will be able to once again see and hear the presentation. We look forward to your participation in the upcoming webcast, and thank you.
Thank you all for joining us for today's webcast, Utilizing Dynamics Marketplace to Enhance Dynamics CRM, presented by Darren. My name is Amy Nelson, and I'm the Marketing Coordinator for Neudesic and the moderator for today's webcast. This webcast is presented by Darren, Neudesic, Director of Dynamics. We are very excited to have him present for us this morning. If you are logged on, you should all be able to see this slide that states Neudesic. There was a brief intro earlier regarding features within Live Meeting. To briefly recap, we encourage you to ask questions throughout the session by typing them in. To ask a question, click on the Q&A verbiage located in the toolbar on the top left side of your screen. Type your question, then click the Ask button. Please note that all questions will be held until the end. We will also be using the seating chart featured within Live Meeting. Changing your feedback color within this tool provides feedback to the presenter. To provide feedback, click on the feedback menu found in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Select your feedback color. Your seat in the conference center will display your selected color. Lastly, this webcast is being recorded and will be available via the Neudesic website. We'll also email you when the link is available. If everyone is ready, please make sure your seat color is green. At this time, I'd like to turn our presentation over to Darren.
Good morning. This is Darren. I am Neudesic's Director for the CRM group within the organization, and hopefully my slide deck is coming up now. So what we're going to cover today is, I think hopefully everyone on the call is familiar with Microsoft CRM, as we're not going to go into details about Microsoft CRM. We're going to be talking about things that you can add on to Microsoft CRM through a variety of different organizations, and we're going to be talking about a couple of them today. But Microsoft's Marketplace is kind of like the App Store, the generic terminology out there that can give you the ability to add functionality to your existing investments already that you put in place. I'm going to be talking about Neudesic's Pulse product, and then I'm going to turn it over and go to Gwyn, who's going to be talking about Explorologics and her organization, and then we're going to come back and go to Ramon, Neal, and he's going to be talking about Neudesic's Loyalty product that we've built on top of Microsoft CRM. And then we're going to open it up for some questions, and we're going to go from there. So I'll give you a quick overview of Neudesic. We do products, services, and we also have a managed services division. And we're going to be talking about our products today more than we are our consulting services or anything else. But this is our organization as a whole. We provide a lot of different value across the spectrum for organizations. And so from the product perspective, it's what you can find out on Microsoft's Marketplace. And what it is for Microsoft CRM, the extended CRM applications is what we're going to be talking about today. And with that, there's a variety of different solutions. They could be add-on little tools that you could add onto your system, or they could be full-blown vertical applications that allow you to extend functionality for specific verticals, whether it's manufacturing, insurance, financial services, whatever. It gives you that ability to do. With Microsoft CRM, you can access Microsoft CRM through Outlook, through your browser, or through a mobile device. And so some of these functionalities, like I'm going to be talking about Pulse, you can access it through any of those means necessary that works for your business. So CRM and social, I'm sure everyone's heard about it. I'm going to be talking specifically today about our Pulse product, which is designed for internal collaboration within an organization or with your partners or customers. So there's an external way that they can also leverage having that kind of conversation. A little bit different than the whole world knows about Twitter. We can keep this locked down and have a secure mechanism of talking about different things instead of using some of the traditional systems that we use today, like Outlook. So what does Pulse really do? It's kind of like replacing the water cooler, but you're allowed to globally bring everyone to that water cooler and have conversations. And it could be around your customers, could be around specific opportunities, support tickets, whatever it is that you want to have a conversation around, instead of doing a mass email or bulk emails or distribution list where you could be eliminating people that you might want to bring into these conversations, people in your organization that want to add to that conversation. So with Microsoft Pulse, just like you would follow a person on Twitter, you can follow people within your organization, see what they're doing. You can also follow customers. So inside CRM, you can follow accounts, you can follow support tickets, anything that you want to within the CRM system. And then inside Pulse, you can actually tie into different systems like SharePoint and CRM and follow a system. So let's say I'm following a specific company within CRM, which I'll show you here in a little bit. You can have different people following that, but I could be notified of updates, and I could be notified on my mobile device. I can be notified in Outlook, wherever I want to, however I want to be notified, or what mechanism, you can do that. So if an opportunity closes, we put it out on Pulse, and everyone sees, hey, we just won this deal. So it's a really great way to grab that collaboration across there. So why would you want Microsoft Pulse in CRM? Well, the big thing in CRM systems in general is driving user adoption. Adding more functionality into the system and allowing people to collaborate really is going to help you drive that adoption. So how would that take place? Well, leveraging untapped knowledge within your organization. So for an example, I've seen this happen several times where somebody was working with a customer or a prospect and trying to get into an account or get into a new division. We've had employees who somebody was like, hey, I don't know how this, I'm trying to get into this customer or talk to this specific person. Well, people that wouldn't be on the normal email thread going back and forth around that, we've seen them pipe in and say, yeah, I worked for that company, or I worked on a project for them in my previous life, and they've been able to open doors that we wouldn't have known about before. So it's really helping you get more out of your investment already. So with that, I'm going to jump over and show you a quick example of Microsoft CRM and our product Pulse. Let's get this loaded up here. Da-da. All right, hopefully everyone can see. I've got Microsoft CRM opened up here. With Microsoft CRM, it gives you the ability to build dashboards. And so there's different functionality that I can show up. So every day I'm going to start my day, I want to see what's going on with how I'm doing to my goals, or what deals do I have in the pipeline, and I can look at all my opportunities that I have going on that you would do in a normal CRM system. But now I've embedded Pulse in here, and Pulse gives me the way that collaboration that I was talking about right inside CRM. And Pulse works on its own. It also works inside SharePoint, so different people in your organization might access this different ways. I'm going to show you specifically in CRM, and I apologize a little bit because my screen, I know, is a little crunched from the resolution. Hopefully everyone can see this. So what am I doing here? So I can quickly see what's been going on with people talking about this specific account or my opportunities that I've got going on inside CRM. So I started a conversation down here, and I said, hey, I'm meeting with the VP of Sales at a division of Boeing next week, and I want to see if Ramon could go out and follow up with Frank to do a demo with him. And you can see as I highlight over here that I'm following Ramon right now, but I'm also, and I can follow accounts inside CRM, so I'm following the Boeing account. So anytime someone makes an update to Boeing, I can get notified inside the CRM. And so I can comment on this, and I can say, and I can specifically call out Ramon in a message, and it's going to send him a message and let him know what's going on once I share that. So I have the ability to add attachments or links or pictures, whatever it is that I want to collaborate around inside of, right inside Microsoft CRM. So I'm going to jump over and show you what it looks like on the account screen. And this can be inside opportunities. It can be inside customer support tickets. We have a Q&A section inside Microsoft CRM that allows people to answer questions and get ranked based on their knowledge. So you can expand your customer support divisions by leveraging other people in your organization for knowledge. And so what I'm doing inside Boeing here, I've opened up their account. Now, just like I was looking at the dashboard and I'm looking at all the things that I'm following, now this is just content that's related to Boeing. So what divisions we're talking about, and it's able to get a quick view of what's going on. So I asked a question earlier, and Mackenzie and Jennifer both responded and told me that they're working with different divisions. And so this is just a great way to collaborate, and this works the same way across the different entities or customers, contacts, opportunities inside Microsoft CRM. It just gives you another way to collaborate. And so this can be done, as I said, you can access this different ways. So when I posted this, Jennifer could have been on her Windows mobile phone, her Droid, her iPhone, whatever it is that she has. There's an app. We have an app for it that you can download out there on Marketplace, and you can start collaborating just on your phone inside CRM. So with that, I'm going to, hopefully that made sense to everyone. I know it was pretty quick. I'm going to turn it over to Gwyn, and she should be able to put up her deck.
All right. Thanks, Darren. Let me go ahead and pull that up here. And everybody should be able to see my screen. So what I'm going to be going through is just giving you a very, very brief overview of Explogix, how we integrate with Dynamic CRM. And I will not spend a lot of time on PowerPoint. I'm going to jump right into the demonstration. But I want to let you know we've been doing product configuration for over 15 years. We have over 800 customers using our solution today. We continue to grow every year. And when we're talking about Explogix and how it actually works with CRM, we do integrate with some other applications as well, but I'm going to be focusing on CRM and how we have the same look and feel of CRM. We are a certified solution, and we are dedicated to Dynamics. I'm going to go through talking about some guided selling that Explogix can provide, how it can create bill of materials, simplify pricing, and also make it faster for salespeople to actually do quotes or orders. So as I talk about how you can use Explogix, I'm going to be showing it in the CRM browser, just as Darren showed. We'll also talk about the fact that you can utilize it in a portal solution. So if you wanted to deploy it to distributors or for customers to do their own quotes or orders, you'll also have that ability, as well as utilizing it within the CRM add-in for Outlook, also taking it offline. In the target market, when you're looking at this list here of how people need to do quotes or orders, if people are configuring clothing or if they're configuring building materials, cabinets and furniture, consumer goods, doors and windows, electronics, hardware, software, you can read the list here. The idea is that anybody that needs to do some sort of estimate or a quote could potentially be using Explogix within CRM. So as we're talking about some of the capabilities that we're going to add on to the CRM solution, it's the ability to have a full rules-based configurator, meaning that you can have certain constraints or variables that are going to determine how you sell your product. You can have different formulas that are going to be calculating margins, taxes, shipping, currency conversions, quantity breaks, any different way that you need to be able to sell your product. I'll also be talking about how you can create bill of materials if it's a manufacturing situation, and how you can do pictures and helpful suggestions. As I mentioned, we are a certified solution for CRM. And basically what we do is we help salespeople. We want to make sure that our salespeople are doing their quotes fast, that they're accurate, and that it is an integrated solution. We also are actually bridging the gap between production managers and sales. So as the salespeople are selling something, we can be assured that production can actually make it. So how do we help these businesses? We found that in discussions, most companies use Excel or Word to create quotes, which is always a great tool. However, they can be inefficient, inaccurate, inconsistent in the fact that people have their own copies on their laptops. We don't have a shared template that everybody's using. One may get updated, another one doesn't. So it really can become inconsistent. People tend to depend on others for quote accuracy. They're having to send that document to somebody else to take a look at it to make sure that we've done our calculations. Maybe they're copying and pasting it back and forth from Excel to Word. And so if we're depending on others, it's a bottleneck, prevents us from getting our quotes out quickly. And then lastly, if we don't have an integrated solution, then we're not able to forecast our sales. Every salesperson has their own copy, has their own quotes, sitting on their laptops. So really what we want to be able to do is we want to, as I mentioned before, make sure that salespeople are able to do those quotes fast. We've had some customers that decrease the time that it does to quote from 5 minutes to 90 seconds. Even on larger scale, we've had some customers that took hours to do it and got it down to minutes. Increasing the accuracy, being able to extend it to other solutions, and of course, as I mentioned, simplifying the complex. So that is all I wanted to show for that. So let me go ahead and share my desktop here. And go. Oops. Pause my screen for a second. It's showing the wrong item here. Okay, let me share just a program. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm showing here is a dynamic CRM, and you can see that I've actually in the opportunities area. So we can actually configure opportunities. We can come down and we can configure quotes. So you'll notice that I've got the configure button up here. We can also configure orders. For today's demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and configure a quote. And I'll just go ahead and start a new quote and fill out my required information for a quote header, which is for me selecting a customer and selecting a price list. Once I've done that and hit save, I now have the ability to configure this quote. Now by choosing the configure option, what it allows you to do is set up different hierarchies of products. So in this first example that I'm going to show you, it's a company that sells software and hardware. And they may be wanting to configure a complete system. Maybe they want to configure hardware only or software only, perhaps a new sale, an add-on sale. Depending on the selection that you make here, further identifies the options that you would be able to quote to the customer. It's going to choose complete systems. And now we get into the ability to start configuring things like servers, hardware, software. We've got our training that we can do and some project services. And as I click on one of these areas, it can take me right to that selection. You'll notice that there's some items that have been pre-marked for me, so perhaps these are items that we've identified as being required project services whenever we're doing a complete system. And as we start to make some selections, you'll notice that I have other information that maybe I need to fill out relating to the option that I choose. It allows you to put in some different descriptions, maybe have some drop-down selections. And as we start choosing other components, I can also be presented with certain messages that are going to guide me to make appropriate selections. So let's say that I'm going to put in 5 one-monitor workstations. We also want 3 of these 2-monitor workstations, and then the customer also wants a 3 or 4-monitor workstation. And when I do that, this is actually letting me know that whenever you get more monitors than 2, you have to add configuration services. So this is an example of a require rule where the system is automatically added in that particular option. So I can communicate that to the customer and continue on with the quote. As we go down and start looking at some software, you'll notice that when I choose this type of software here, it's already calculated that I have 9 full user licenses. This is recommending that we get 5 training licenses, and we can still put in some backup user licenses. We've got some calculations that are going on. And on the bottom status bar, you can actually see that we've got some prices being calculated, breaking it down by the software, some support, services, and hardware and third party. So the whole idea is as I'm making selections down in each area, I can have additional information that's going to be adding in for me. I can start to come down, maybe add in some support options. If they want a second year of support, maybe that's going to calculate at a different price, and so forth. Once we're done with this quote, we can quickly view all of the line items that would appear on this quote. We'll hit Save and Close. And what that's going to do is it's going to take all of that information, brings us back into CRM. We've actually got our quote header that's been updated. We can see the line items that have been added to this particular quote. And then once I come up and generate my quote that I'm going to send off to the customer, and then, of course, I can choose whatever type of format I want to send it to and send it to the customer. Now, typically what would happen is once we've printed the quote, we want to go ahead and activate it, which locks down that field, prevents us from making any changes unless we were to revise it. Now, you'll notice when I click on Revise, it's going to change my revision ID from 0 to 1. It's closing out the original, giving me an exact duplicate. And if I go back into Configure, I'll have the ability now to edit this configuration. I can remove it and start over, do a duplication, maybe even add a new configuration. So, of course, if I choose Edit, it's going to remember everything that I had on here. I can make my individual changes, maybe unmark an item, remark some items, and so forth. And I can save and close. And this time I'm just going to hit Save for a moment. And if I were to come in here and duplicate this configuration, I can actually have 2 systems come in here, make some changes, save it, and now I've got 2 configurations on one individual quote. You can even get to the point of comparing them and showing what's different about these particular configurations. When we're done, we simply hit Close and save it back into CRM. So that gives just an overview example of how Extralogics can work. I now want to switch over into a completely different usage of Extralogics to kind of give you a feel for how it can be designed differently depending on the type of customer. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up another quote and start this. I'll go ahead and select another customer and a price list, and we'll save that. And I'm going to wait for this one to finish publishing. So basically what I'm doing now is I'm purging my software and hardware company, and I'm bringing up another example, and it'll just take a moment. while this is publishing, I'll just kind of do a reminder here that if you wanted to bypass the quoting process altogether, you can actually go into the orders and configure an order. So you don't actually have to start at the quote process. Some people do like to just configure an order. So I'm going to configure this quote. And as we saw before, we're going to have the ability to have different types of series that we may want to select. This is a company that actually does internet access of hotels. They also do things like the entertainment of renting of movies and games and so forth on the TV. So the idea is that they will come into a company and like a hotel and start to determine what it is that they're going to be configuring for them. So they have some general install information that they're asking, and then they have specific property information. The reason I wanted to show this example is so that you can get another look and feel of how the configurator can be used in not only a company that sells product, but also sells services. So as you're noticing that this company has some professional services that are going to be calculated, some installation costs, we've got our totals that are going to be updated, some monthly service pricing, and if I continue scrolling down, you'll actually notice that I'll get to an area that it'll start talking about equipment that's going to be required to actually fulfill this particular quote or order. So as I go back at the top and start picking some solutions here, you'll notice that I'm going to start having some data that's going to be populating in based on the selections that I make up top. So as I say that this is going to be an Ethernet and wireless, it's going to be a managed service opportunity, it's going to be a new footprint, and it happens to be a Marriott property, and typically their occupancy rate is about 75%, and now we can start to configure the different rooms. So in the guest room, we're going to actually have about 100 rooms that are going to need the IBON solution. And you'll notice once again it's starting to fill in some data here at the bottom. The type of technology is going to be both wired and wireless. Now, of course, you'll notice when I choose both, it brings in both areas. If I had chosen just one or the other, then it would only display the information that I need to be filling in. We'll go ahead and say that it's going to be both. And I'll choose my type of technology. I'll say that this is a TUT 2, and there's going to be some phones that need to be in the bathrooms. We've got TUT 3 for my wireless technology, and it starts to do some calculations for estimated wireless access points and so forth. Now, the idea is, as I mentioned, we've got some calculations that are going on, and now when I scroll down a little bit, you'll notice that I've got some components now. So I've got some metal rings that need to be chosen. We've got some tie straps. I've got some black cable, etc. And if we needed to override some amounts, we can still do that by clicking on the checkboxes. So a completely different uses of the configurator, but the idea is still when we hit save and close, it's going to save that back into CRM. Now, as I mentioned, this solution can also be deployed in a portal solution. So if you wanted customers or partners or dealers, distributors to be able to come in and do some of their own configuration, you'll still have that capability to have them have a login information, be able to display only information that's based on their role or security, and be able to have them do their own configurations. And so now I've shown you how it can go ahead and configure our quote. I talked about revising the quote. We also have the ability to copy quotes. So if I've got a quote that I've done in the past that I want to actually make a copy of it, I can simply come in here and I'm going to just call this first example. And then I'll just make sure that that's saved. I'm going to choose to copy. It will go out and look at how many configurations I have on this. This is just one configuration, so I'll hit save. And so now if I hit save and close, refresh my screen here, you can actually see that it's made an exact copy So I've got the first example. Now I can pull it up and I can actually make changes to it. I could even change it to a different customer if I wanted to. So if I change this to Walmart as an example, and I'll just call this first example copy, save and close. And now I've got my first one that I did. I've got the copy. If I choose this copy and go back into configure, I'll still be able to make changes to this configuration. This is a large database, so it takes a moment to open. So it'll remember all of the selections that I made. And now if I wanted to make some changes just for this particular customer, I can do that. Maybe they're just going to have wired. It's going to update all of my totals. I'll hit save and close. And then I'm complete with that particular configuration. Now, as I mentioned lastly, just to wrap it up here, so we can start from the opportunity, we can start from a quote, we can start from an order, and for any type of industry that needs to be able to have either options that they select or a form-based solution, they'll be able to use the configurator and have it tied directly into CRM. So with that, I will wrap it up and turn it back over to you, Darren.
Thank you very much, Gwyn. Let's see if I can get the slide deck back. All right, Ramon, you are up. And you might be on mute. Amy, I think Ramon is muted.
Sorry about that, guys. Yes, I was muted. I apologize. Are you able to see my screen now? Should be coming up.
Ramon, there you go.
Thank you, sir. Okay, good. Okay, so my name's Ramon Neal, and I'll be talking about our loyalty solution today. And I guess I wanted to start with just a few comments from the analysts as to why loyalty. So let's look at what Forrester and Gartner says. You know, in times of economic difficulties, the customer experience seems to be the most important. And I kind of paraphrasing. Yes, sir.
Hey, the screen is off. I don't know if you need to expand it or something, but it's shifted all the side or.
Really? Interesting. Let me see.
I'm not sure why.
That's interesting. Hold on for a second. Oh, let me see here. Is that better?
No.
No?
Here at the bottom, you've got a scroll bar.
Yes, sir?
Scroll to the right.
I don't have a scroll bar in mine. Mine is taking up the entire picture.
Why is this doing this?
Actually,
here.
it looks okay for me, Darren.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's just me. All right. Never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, so let me see. Where was I? I got to go to the beginning. Begin the preview here. So I was just paraphrasing some of the quotes that we have here from some of the industry analysts that are trying to stress the fact that just how important the customer experience really is in these times. We've gotten some studies that say that retaining and attracting customers are number one, number two business initiative for 2011 to the 2012. So our loyalty solution is really catching the momentum of the loyalty in the market and the economic current situation in the economic marketplace. So let's go look at it. When you normally think of loyalty, most people think of a system that manages rules for the program, point accruals, award redemptions. But your customer should be more than just a point, don't you think? And that's why our loyalty is much broader than that. You know, and our primary focus has always been the customer. It's how do you get to know the customer, how do you provide personalized service to the customer, and how do you provide that personal feeling when you're talking to at every interaction point, and even in all your promotional offers. So what this slide shows you is all the different components of our loyalty solution. So this means that our loyalty solutions, which we decided to build on Microsoft CRM, really includes all the different aspects of your business: sales, marketing, all your different locations, all your different point of sale systems, all your customer service and issue resolutions. And this gives you kind of an overview of that entire system for us. So here's a slide that kind of outlines the different application elements that we have. And why did we build it on top of Microsoft CRM? As you can see, all these different application elements are related to the customer, which makes loyalty the natural evolution of CRM. So from our different loyalty solution implementations, we have always encountered ubiquitous requirements across industries. But that being said, every organization wants to build loyalty in a slightly different way, which is why our loyalty solution leverages the Microsoft Dynamics CRM platform, and which enables the flexibility to configure and customize our solution to our client-specific needs. Okay, so we've created different versions of our loyalty solution, one for retail, one for travel, hospitality, and entertainment. We're going to show you one example of that today. So with that, I'm going to switch over to the demo and show you our solution. Here. So just to see here, you see a normal CRM system. But what we built is all those frameworks are built into this particular CRM instance. So let's go look at a customer profile. So you can come to a customer profile if you're doing a marketing promotion, if you're doing a customer service lookup, and you would get the different views depending on your role. But let's go look at Darren Gooding, for example. So as you can see, when we opened up the profile information, we have an overview, all his identity information, date of birth, all the loyalty program login, the password reminders, and how to the reminder answers, all his contact information, preferences, and you see down here the loyalty program. On the side, you'll see additional navigation capabilities of the system that allow you to go directly to that particular area, like the web authentication, what he uses to log in, all the different components of his loyalty program, rental preferences. Right? And then if you continue down the side here, you'll see the different things that are related to the particular profile. In this case, you can see a history of activities, relationships. So for example, if he's got a wife or a son or somebody else in the same organization that also belong to the program, we can see those here through relationships and connections. We can also bring in information from call history records or different integrations to transaction systems or even partner affiliations. We also have rental histories for this particular demonstration. So as you can see, you start getting the idea that this particular loyalty solution is really travel. It's really focused on travel, like an Avis customer loyalty program. You have your loyalty participations, service cases here, and we'll come back to that a little bit further, a little bit later, excuse me. Okay, so let's look at the loyalty awards. What is that exactly? So your loyalty awards is all the different transactions that accrue points for that particular customer as part of that loyalty program. So let's go look at this particular one right here, which is the United Airlines Partnership Award. So essentially, Darren received 1,000 points by signing up for the United Partnership with Avis. Now, as you can see, the important components here is the amount awarded, the type, the award type, right, and then the approval status. Depending on your award type, it has to trigger an automated approval process or an automated review process. In this particular instance, anytime somebody signs up for a partner affiliation, it has an automatic approval. Why is that important? Because the approval determines when those points are actually awarded to our customer. Okay? As you can see right here, this has already been approved, so this already has been assigned to Darren Gooding's profile. So if we go back to the profile here, we'll actually see that Darren Gooding, which is Avis First Loyalty Program, he's a silver member, and that's determined by the different points down here. You can see the different details of it. So the reason that it says primary is because this is he has the option of belonging to multiple loyalty programs within the same organization and instance. So those will be listed right here. Okay. All right. So let's look at this Avis First a little bit further. So let's look at this particular loyalty program. You see this gives you an overview of the actual program itself. All the different award types. On the left, you see activities or anything related to that building that program, relationships, actions, partner participation, and program levels. So let's go look at our different program levels. So as you can see, Darren is a silver because he's got under 20,000 points. At 20,001, he would become a gold member. And this kind of gives you the idea of how we manage the membership levels and the points multipliers. So it gives us the ability to accrue more points depending on your membership level. So as you can see, this is self-explanatory. For every dollar you spend in a platinum membership level, you get 10 points versus the silver, which Darren gets $1 for every 1 point for every dollar that he spends. And then the system automatically tracks the membership levels and how they move up and down. Okay. Okay, now, once we do that, so if we look at, back to Darren's profile here, you know that he's affiliated with Avis. He belongs to the loyalty program here. So what does that enable us to really do? That enables us to create very personalized marketing lists that actually target what Darren's behavior has been, or his different affiliations, or membership level. So in this particular instance, Darren belongs to the Avis United Monthly Renters Marketing List. Now we're leveraging the power of Dynamic CRM, Dynamic Marketing List, by creating different lists that actually say, if you belong to these two systems, you belong to this list. And here's the criteria we set up, and then the system automatically adds the different the different members to the list as they become eligible based on that criteria. So that really enables you to not have to go create individual marketing lists. You create them once, and you can still continue to target all your specific customers using that dynamic list functionality. So far we've been able to show you all the different components of the loyalty system, the ability to have different multipliers and different program levels. And that kind of gives you the idea of how we build the system to incorporate all the different lines of the business. The last thing we're going to show you is the customer service. So through the navigation here, we can go to the customer service cases, and we can see all the different cases that Darren has had. So he filed a claim or a service case on June 9th because he thought he was overcharged for fuel. So in this particular case, if somebody calls in, you can create a case directly from here to trigger that customer service rep to already know who he's dealing with, because he's already dealing with it from the actual customer profile, which gives him the level, the point accruals, his rental history, and he can actually determine, okay, what's going on with this guy? This guy's a monthly renter. We definitely want to take care of him. What's he calling about? The vehicle he rented today seems to be dirty. So based on the criteria of this particular case, right, and there's a bunch of different details here that we can go over. This comes through a phone call, the particular rental agreement, which is about, you can associate it with reservation number. If the caller's not him, then you can actually associate it with a different individual. But then for the case of this demo, we're just going to keep it pretty simple and just create this case saying the vehicle he rented is dirty and he wants a complaint. So we don't want him to be unhappy. So what we can do is we can create certain processes in the system to compensate our valued clients. In this particular case, we're going to do a service credit. So we could say, let's do a service award for Darren so that we can make him more comfortable the next time he rents with us. So in this particular case, we've created a dialogue that walks the service rep through what should he do to make the customer feel, like he's being taken care of. So if he wants to add 1,000 points, 10,000 points, let's say, to this particular customer because of the award, he can actually give the order, right, or the reasons why this customer is giving the award: dirty rental car, unhappy, right? We can keep it pretty simple in this particular case, but it actually gives you tips, right? Describe the nature of why it's going, gives you that, hey, points should typically be between 1 and 10 points. If I click to next, what it's going to tell me is that, hey, wait a minute, this is going to require, 10,000 points is going to require managerial approval. Give your reason why. So you know what? I don't want a manager to know about it. So let's just make this 10 points. That way I can avoid the managerial approval step. And we can go to the next version. And now, as you can see, this will have created an award level for Darren based on that service case that he opened. Now, every time that somebody interacts with Darren Gooding, they'll have the ability to see that information on there. So let's close this case. And if we go back to award levels for this particular customer, we will see the service issue awards that actually show up right here. And actually, you can click on it and say, okay, here's what's going on with this particular customer. Actually, it's right here. Right there. So, as we go through the system, you can keep track of all the different components of your loyalty program, from a marketing component, from a profile management, from the different points and award levels that you have down here. Or you could also have it interacted with your service cases, so your customer service reps have a complete picture of your loyalty customers and can manage them as needed, either giving them higher levels of service, never giving bad service, but just determining the level of awards and service level that we're going to give depending on where they're at in our loyalty program. Okay. One of the good things about that is all those transactions and all those points in our loyalty program are very hard to keep track of, perhaps outside of just your individual customer loyalty. So one of the things we've also done is created dashboards that give you the visibility or roll-up across the different loyalty program levels, so you can get a better picture, right? The number of stays, you can get points activities by stays, by partners, points earned per year, so you can get a better idea of how that program is actually the traction and adoption of that program. Different loyalty members by quarter, right? By type, and by country. So the beauty of the Microsoft CRM platform that we built it on top is all those features, all that custom logic that we've built out to capture the points, the award levels, the partner affiliations, the marketing components, and the service cases are all rolled up into a dashboard where you can point and click and interact to the system. That being said, let me switch back to my presentation here and say, so we've been able to show you the marketplace overview. Darren did the Pulse demo. Gwyn did the Explorlogics product configurator. We just reviewed at a very high level, very quickly, the Neudesic loyalty solution. And I guess the next step on the agenda is to turn it over back to Darren and just have time for questions.
Amy, do we have any questions?
I believe we did. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Darren, Gwyn, and Ramon, for this presentation. We did have a question come through. It was, does loyalty work for other organizations other than just travel?
Absolutely. So our loyalty solution has a couple main focuses. We just showed the travel, but we have a retail solution, and we also have a hospitality and entertainment solution. And as you can imagine, those have very different customized features as part of the framework.
Yeah, and I'll add on to that is that there's always the basic parts that you start with, and as Ramon was talking about, the flexibility behind it of tailoring it out. Two rental car companies could be different. Two hotels could be massively different based on the metrics or the things that they want to track. So the base points get you there, but as you decide to expand it out, every organization does a little bit different. Microsoft CRM is pretty flexible, allowing you to do that. Is there
anything else?
No, that's it from my end.
All right. If anyone has any more questions, please feel free to type them in at this time. In the meantime, I'm going to click through a few polling questions, and we would greatly appreciate your feedback. First question. Was this content helpful for your business? Perfect. All right, the next question. Please rate the presentation content. Excellent, good, or poor? All right, thank you. And the last question, would you like us to schedule a follow-up with you? Yes or no?
Yes or no.
Thank you all. We will be forwarding the link to view a recording of this webcast once it becomes available. If you have any further questions about this presentation, please feel free to email Darren at the email address provided on the slide. Again, thank you so much for everyone joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webcast. You are now free to disconnect. Thank you.